Welcome back to Fleshing It Out Book Day, where we are here with the Sage Sisters founder, Janet Tamassia, where she's sharing book recommendations. And so, Janet, welcome so much. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me, Samantha. I'm so happy to be back with you. So today we are discussing the Book of Beautiful Questions by Warren Berger.
All right, Janet, tell me, what is the Book of Beautiful Questions all about?
The Book of Beautiful Questions is a book to help you really practice your questioning for a whole variety of reasons, and really he gets to the heart of why should we question, and then offers questions for different scenarios, specifically around making decisions, connecting with others, leading people, like in the workplace, and also with your creativity.
Ooh, with your creativity. That's interesting. I like that about the questions because another book you'd recommended, The Choice, the author became a trauma therapist. And so I remember there she was talking about asking people questions. And so much of what I've heard, I feel like that's like a message for me. And I'm sure it's no coincidence since I love interviewing and asking questions, but it's just that taking the time to not only ask, but listen, for the answers. So that sounds very interesting. So who would be drawn to this book?
Well, I was drawn to this book because I grew up really being told that I should be seen and not heard. And so I didn't really have a whole lot of modeling of questioning when I was younger. And so I really want to develop my questioning skills because I feel like there's so many benefits to really deeper questions that I feel like it really improves communication and relationships. And it's just really important.
You brought up a huge point that it just clicked in my head. So I feel like I've always been a question answer and investigator, but I look at my life of moving around so much. And so I was around so many people. So I got to ask all those questions. But when I would return home to my parents' family, their parents, I remember always asking my grandma questions, and she'd say, who would want to talk about that? Because she grew up with the Great Depression. And so I'm, trauma, hardships. And so I remember she would say things like, why would I want to think about that? So as you were talking, I just had this clicked moment of, had I grown up in a different environment, that kind of maybe that love of asking questions I wouldn't have been appeased because people wouldn't have answered them, depending on where I was all the time. And so, dang, yes, if you didn't grow up with that being nurtured, then what a great reminder.
Right. And really, I love listening to people when they ask beautiful questions. And so it's just a trait that I want to develop in myself. And I'm a big proponent of obviously reading books and learning new perspectives and ways of thinking and ideas and other people's experiences. And I feel like, knowing what questions to ask and asking them in a manner that helps you connect with people more deeply and also work together more harmoniously, like in the workplace. And also get to the deeper meaning of what you want to do in this life, that brings out the creativity in you. I just feel like it can be so enriching for anyone.
I like that too, that giving you tips, because for me, it's like starting with my childhood, questions can come across as very interrogating. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, I'm talking about myself, like my questions can be, so my greater meaning is for that connection, but I kind of look at the different areas of life and how, especially as a parent, to kind of ask the more beautiful questions versus the interrogating questions. So.
Right, exactly. And he addresses that, right? Yeah. And gives you ideas for how you might reword a question so it doesn't come across as being interrogating or, put people on the defensive. And it really comes back to, your tone. But he talks a lot about replacing, our natural tendency to defend and with curiosity, right? So, asking someone, to tell you more about something really gets to the deeper heart of maybe why they're sharing something with you. So it's really about coming to it with an open-minded heart. And really that is what enables people to build rapport and trust with one another. And so anyway, it's a very helpful tool.
So Janet, did you have a moment, an aha moment or something that this book helped challenge or transform you in after reading it?
Actually, yes. And I wasn't really expecting any sort of grand aha moments while reading this book, but that's the beautiful thing about reading books is that you can have aha moments that you weren't expecting. But he talks about how the views people hold are often bound up in their identity. And that when you attack someone, like asking them, like, how can you believe such a thing? It really makes people defensive. And, again, it goes back to, coming at the question out of curiosity and really with the intention to learn as opposed to judge. And so something had happened, over a year ago where a conversation happened and I couldn't understand why it went so wrong. And that, I read that and it just completely became clear to me why that went the way it went. So anyway, it just sort of, helps put all the pieces together, why someone else might be reacting the way they are and why you react, and really becoming more conscious and able to respond from a higher place in those moments, to take a pause and really think.
To be able to respond, not react. That was in some of the books you've recommended, that point of view.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you host you have, of course, the Facebook group for the Sage Sisters, a self-development community that people can join if they're interested in self-development. And then, of course, you host a monthly book club. So if someone wants to get in touch with you and your community, Janet, how can they find you?
The easiest place is just to go to my website, thesagesisters.com.
Great. Thank you so much, Janet.
All right. Thanks so much, Sam.
Yay.